Welcome back, everybody, to another episode, Season 3, Episode 1 of the Unknown Sports Podcast. Welcome back, guys. Hunter Harris, Austin Fyffe. Nobody thought we'd be back. Everyone's preying on our downfall. All our haters that are sliding in our DMs, just telling us how much they hate our show.
My family told me the other day, "You're not doing the show this year, right?" And I said, "No." Thank God. I had to listen to that to support you all those times. But sorry, guys. You got to do it again this year.
Here we are. That's how they get their Christmas cards.
How many episodes of the podcast do you listen to? If it's above 6, you get a Christmas card.
If it's below 6, you get 2 Christmas cards, and I expect you to send one back. All right, so new format this year. We're going to recap this real quickly. We're going to go through headlines today, talk about some off-season stuff. Then we're going to play some games. Not really games. Hunter doesn't like games. We'll have a couple segments, and then we'll do our picks and discuss some games in whatever order we feel like. Maybe that'll be episode 2. Stay tuned and find out. But let's get going to off-season headlines. Hunter, give me the sound drop.
There you go.
First on the list, we've got Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos. Big offseason headline. Did you guys have any takes on this?
When did this happen? Just kidding.
Months ago. So yes, for those of you listening, we are going to recap. This is our first episode since post-Super Bowl show. Hang on tight.
So the Broncos got a quarterback now. Kind of.
Does it?
Dare you disgrace Teddy Two Gloves?
Yeah, where's he at this year?
Teddy Two Gloves is in Miami. He's backing up 2-0.
Ooh, he might get some PT this year.
Maybe a little bit. Not as much as he got last year. Devontae Adams traded to Vegas.
Okay.
Residential Packers fan.
Let's
Did
keep
you
it
hear
moving.
about this one?
Let's keep it moving.
No tears on this podcast, darn it.
Von Miller to Buffalo. Austin, what was that contract he signed again?
6 years, $120 million.
He's making
33.
some money. Hunter, will he play till he's 39? Will he play out that contract?
Austin, this in year 4 has him transitioning into a front office role, right?
Probably, yeah.
I sure hope so, because 6 years is a long time to commit to an outside linebacker.
Who's 33. Next, Allen Robinson to the Rams. Look at that, Austin. Got rid of him finally. How's that feel?
I mean, if he tries, it'll be a really good move for the Rams.
Yeah. I bet he'll try. He's not in
it's
Chicago anymore. J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack. Sorry, didn't mean to double down on your Bears leaving. To the Chargers. Are the Chargers for real? Stay tuned and find out. Matt Ryan to Indy. Do the Colts have a quarterback now? And do you guys take this as an upgrade on Carson Wentz?
Yes, and absolutely yes.
Yes. And also, they had a quarterback 2 years ago. Come on now. Phillip Rivers.
Ish.
Let's not dig on Phillip Rivers right now.
Matt Ryan is an improvement on Phillip Rivers with baby noodle arm too.
Fair enough.
Amari Cooper to the Browns for a 6th-round pick. Way to go, Dallas, who's hurting for wide receivers and other things at this moment. Baker to Carolina. Deshaun Watson, if you somehow missed out on that. He's in Cleveland now.
That's it. That's the only thing that happened with him this offseason.
And A.J. Brown traded from Tennessee to Philadelphia.
Who cares?
So a lot of movement. For an offseason.
Lots of movement for bigger name guys.
You know, if this was a professional podcast, we probably would have had to, have a show multiple times to discuss these in depth. But here we are just throwing them all in together at the front of our week 1 podcast.
But you know what, Hunter? That's what they fill their entire offseason with. People talked about Allen Robinson to the Rams for 2 days. People talked about Von Miller to Buffalo for a week. We just did it in 2 minutes, so we didn't waste time.
This is the most efficient offseason podcast in the history of football.
Absolutely, because we're almost done with it, too.
Which one would you call any of these moves, Austin, league altering?
Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say there's a couple of them that definitely changed the power shift dynamics in the league. Definitely what Austin said too, starting with Russell Wilson. As much as I hate to say it, like Watson in Cleveland, maybe.
Yeah.
Next year, not this year.
For real.
J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack to the Chargers. I think that makes that defense go from a really good defense to a potentially great defense. Like
elite.
Yeah, like a very elite. Like if they figure it out, they will easily be the best defense in the league. But
yeah, they've had a good one.
Lots of big names.
A good defense the past couple of years, but it's just been injury after injury. So
gotta avoid that too. Herbert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Herbie can handle it.
I hope so, but
I know he can. Let's talk about quarterback contracts real quick. 4 notable contracts this offseason. Start with Russell Wilson, 5 years, $242.6 million. The guy got paid $50 million to write his name on the contract as a signing bonus, Hunter. Hunter, how would it make you feel to write your name down and someone's like, hey, here's 50 mil. Nice job. You spelled it right, too.
If only I could write my name. This is a lot of money to commit to Russell Wilson, who was not really good last year or the year before, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can
hash that out right now. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he was playing with an absolute shell of a team and an organization in Seattle compared to what he's set up with now in Denver is, in my mind, not even close to comparable.
Still doesn't have a great offensive line, but he, again, has a defense.
Much better, though.
Yeah, but it's still not good. But he has a full receiving core instead of just 2 guys, and he has a defense once again, which he hadn't had in Seattle in, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5?
Yeah, this is the real deal for Denver.
But, yeah, I mean, that contract...
Does that justify that money?
I think they're doing it, though, because it's like, hey, you are our chance to win Super Bowls. Like, we have the defense, we have the rest of the team. You just have to win this, help us win. You have to help us get there at this point. If you get us there, we could probably win it because we have a good team. But Russell Wilson has to be a truck, not a trailer.
I mean, we also realize that's just how it works. Like, let's not pretend this contract comes out of nowhere. Like, it's how every quarterback contract works. So, it's justified because you either have him or you don't, and you are terrible without him. So,
yeah, I think if Drew Lock was here, I could definitely give them a lock to be 4th in the division.
Yeah,
and I would put the mortgage on that. Deshaun Watson, 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. There's a lot of off-season headlines on Deshaun Watson. If you hadn't listened or read our
about 32
tweets,
of them.
I don't even know if we tweeted it all during it, but I will just quickly just state that none of us are fond of this. Nobody here likes Deshaun Watson anymore. Yeah, or ever did.
Thanks for clarifying.
Pretty slime ball of a dude.
I mean, I'm hanging out with him Saturday, but
yeah. But yeah, that's about all the Watson talk we're gonna do because we're just gonna move on for it. But nobody's happy with the Browns. Kyler Murray, $230.5 million contract, 189 of it guaranteed. Hunter, I know you like to do calculations as to how much money something is by video game controllers. How many Call of Duties can Kyler Murray buy with all of that 189?
Yeah, all I know is that if he stays away from Call of Duty, he can buy a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to affect his cash flow. They gave him quite a bit of that guaranteed. So
yeah, I know. They just backed off the contract thing, which is a big headline. But Lamar not signed yet, not re-signed yet.
Nope, that was the last one I had here was Lamar Jackson. He's been in talks all offseason with the Ravens front office, and they just haven't came to terms yet. How awkward and difficult do you think those meetings would be not having an agent like Lamar doesn't? Lamar goes into those meetings with the head coach and the GM himself, and says, yeah, I want this much money, whereas everyone else has a representative to go do their business for them.
And you saw the same thing in Chicago with Roquan Smith.
Yep.
I mean, the negotiations turn very personal when you don't have that agent buffer.
Yep.
You know, negotiations are a vicious game of the team trying to give you as least money as possible and what's best for the organization, and vice versa. And when you put yourself there mano-a-mano with the organization, it's real hard to understand that it's a business and nothing's personal in that situation.
I guess I haven't really heard this story. What happened with Roquan Smith when he was negotiating his own contract?
Basically, the Bears didn't want to give him $100 million, which is what his goal was to be. He was the first linebacker to make $100 million. And then there was also some alleged de-escalators in the contract, meaning if his performance fell, certain incentives were harder to reach, which would make that back half that's not guaranteed a lot less or a lot more volatile. And so he felt that was disrespectful, which, again, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, and maybe also he didn't.
But you're supposed to have an agent buffer there.
Right.
Still.
And when you have an agent, they understand exactly what goes into those, whereas you may think it's more of an issue than it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's kind of what Lamar's going through, but it's not getting ugly like the Roquan deal did, because then he sat out of training camp and then they put him on the PUP and then they took him off the PUP, and it got complicated and greasy, grimy gopher guts there. But Lamar, it doesn't sound like it's been too negative. It just has been slow. And I believe I heard, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I heard that once the season starts, which it's about to start, he's not talking about it.
Correct.
So he's just going to be playing this year on the contract he's on, and won't be doesn't have that future locked up yet.
Idiot.
Yeah, the alleged holdup there is that he wants a fully guaranteed deal, which is what some other scumbag organization does. But they don't want to do that, and I don't blame them.
You can't, with his style of play at a quarterback position, go out and play without that. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, but why set the precedent? The NFL is different than the NBA and Major League Baseball, where it's not all guaranteed. And why, if you're a team, would you offer a fully guaranteed contract? That makes zero sense.
Outbid.
I mean,
outbid the other teams.
Yeah, but they'll franchise tag him. He's got this year. They'll franchise tag him.
They have the power.
Tag him again, and he's under contract for 3 years, essentially.
Yep.
And also, he doesn't have an agent that could help him out with this.
Correct.
That could negotiate through the season even while he's playing and focused on playing.
Yeah.
Idiot.
All right, let's move on. First segment of the season. We're going to call this one, Hunter, 2 steps forward, 1 steps back.
I like this name.
This is just our overview of the entire offseason, so including the draft. We're each going to bring 3 teams to the table. We're going to bring 2 teams that you think improved and 1 team that you think took a step back and got worse. So, Austin, go ahead and lead us off with 1 team that you think improved.
I mean, we just hit on them, but I think it's the Chargers. I think they're the most improved team. I think this is now, on paper, arguably the most complete team in football. Between the offensive linemen they added in the draft, adding Khalil Mack, adding J.C. Jackson, locking up Derwin James. If this team stays healthy with a defensive-minded head coach and what's arguably one of the best, if not the best, young quarterback in the NFL, it's hard to not give them the green light to at least win the division, if not make a deep Super Bowl run.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Chargers were one of the teams I had as my most improved. And for all the reasons you said, another thing that you didn't touch on that I'd want to point out is how good that offensive line is. That's a top 5 offensive line in the league. Yep. And I think giving Herbert time to throw the ball, he's got all of the he's got the weapons, he's got receivers, he got Eckler in the backfield as well. I don't know how this team doesn't score points every week, and with that defense, as long as this team stays healthy, I think they're an easy lock for the playoffs. Now, whether they perform to Super Bowl caliber, we'll see. But, I mean, I would lock them in for the playoffs.
It's tough because when you lock them in for the playoffs, you also have to take into consideration the Chiefs are in that division, so are the Broncos, who we just considered this is probably their best shot to make it deep in the playoffs in years. So if you're picking the Chargers to go deep and the Broncos as well to make the playoffs, you're looking at 3 teams from this division, which we saw happen last year as well. So it can definitely happen, but it just makes it tougher. I agree, though. Chargers, massive offseason. I think Herbert, every single year at this point, is getting better. What you guys mentioned with that offensive line is probably the biggest thing, honestly. That offensive line is awesome. And I really like them this year to go deep, maybe even farther than the other 2 teams in that division. They're just built so well. And that defense is so good now. So good.
They're just built different.
Built different, baby.
Hunter, give me one team that you think improved as well, or did you agree with this on the Chargers? Was that one of yours?
Well, I agree with this one, but I have a different one, actually.
Go for it.
I think it's a very similar offseason. The Indianapolis Colts. I think that they had a fantastic offseason. Not only, the biggest thing is they bring in Matt Ryan, obviously, but in addition to all of that, you got Yannick Ngakoue. You got Stephon Gilmore as well. That's a big one, too. Then you have their draft and everything that they had there. The biggest thing, though, they got a quarterback now. And I think it's a quarterback that's perfect for this situation because he can game manage. He's not going to be asked to do a heck of a lot, throwing it deep and such. The main thing he's just got to do is game manage, get the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and that defense can go to work. I love the Colts offseason.
That's a solid review. The only thing you missed there is the biggest improvement they had as well is that they have Shaq Leonard now instead of Darius Leonard. Huge, massive improvement there. Austin, what are your thoughts on the Colts?
Well, I thought I was high on him, but apparently I'm the one that's low on him. I'm not a big believer in this team after the offseason, apparently. Yannick Ngakoue is not what he has been in years. The same can be said for Stephon Gilmore. They added 31-plus-year-old defenders to a defense that was good, but not great. Lost their defensive coordinator, so you're implementing an entirely new scheme. Traded away Rocky Sin, who was one of their good young corners. So testing a team's depth at corner, which wasn't great to begin with, and adding an injury-prone corner that's over 30 years old doesn't seem like a massive upgrade to me. I like Matt Ryan. It's going to be a big uptick for Carson Wentz. I thought they took a small step ahead. I didn't think it was a massive upgrade.
I think it was a full step. I don't think it was a leap, but I think it was a step in the right direction.
I think it's a leap when you consider what they were going from, though. Carson Wentz sucks.
Carson Wentz does, but it's. Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying, Matt Ryan is someone who can jump in and manage a game and has the veteran presence and can read a defense, is going to make the right throws. But the guy is a Stone Age pony, and if someone goes up against someone that has a good pass rush, he's not going to be able to get out of it or anything. He's going to be everything's got to take place before the snap for him, and it's just got to be quick reads and quick outlets. Another person I like on that team, though, is Alec Pierce, rookie receiver for the Colts. He's had a good training camp. I think he might have a good year. So those of you with dynasty leagues in fantasy, maybe keep an eye out on the waivers for that guy. Hunter, give me one team that you think got worse this offseason.
This was one that I really struggled with. And I'm going to pick this team not because of the moves that they made, but because they're kind of just running it back again. Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Every single year, the Minnesota Vikings decide what we have is enough, guys. Aaron Rodgers is 1 year older. We got the Bears in our division. We know they're going to turn in a crappy year every year. The Lions, they're going to try to improve. They're not. We just got to bring back the same team next year, and the Packers just got to screw up a little bit more. It's not going to work again for the Minnesota Vikings. Doing nothing in your offseason is not a good review of your offseason, in my opinion, when you're the Minnesota Vikings. Outside of the head coaching stuff. Go ahead, Austin. I know you have stuff to say.
No, go ahead. AJ, go ahead. I got to find something real quick.
I think that they improved, Hunter. a little bit. I like that they paired an offensive-minded head coach with Kirk Cousins because now he has someone that's going to work with him instead of work against him.
But when you get
Mike
in a
Zimmer
new coach,
hated him. I mean, that was pretty public knowledge.
Yeah, it absolutely was public knowledge. It's pretty hard to win football games when your coach and your quarterback are headbutting each other literally on the sidelines.
It's like they hired this guy, though, and they said, you think you can win with this situation we got going on? And he's like, if it's a head coaching job, sure. And they're like, you got the job.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I just love, too, that this podcast, we can't go a single podcast without some sort of Vikings hate. And I'm just always all alone standing on this corner like, they're not that bad. I'm not even a fan, but, like, I don't absolutely hate them like these two guys.
Yeah, I don't understand the hate there. I'm not a big Vikings guy by any means, but a massive upgrade at head coach, in my opinion. Mike Zimmer's not it. Like, he was a fine defensive coordinator. Anybody is going to pretty much be an upgrade there. They added Zadarius Smith. Danielle Hunter's coming back healthy. They should have a very good pass rush. They signed Jordan Hicks. They've already got, Kendricks. It's going to be a very solid defense. And the reason you kind of quote unquote run it back on offense is because what was out there for them to get better? I mean, what did
you got Dalvin Cook, who's a top 10 running back. You've got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, who are still both very good receivers. Justin Jefferson's elite. Adam Thielen's dropped a little bit, but is still a good receiver.
Right. And then, you add in, Kirk Cousins is fine, but what did you want him to go do? They didn't get Wilson. They allegedly talked about it. They were in the sweepstakes for Russell Wilson. So, I mean, if you're not going to get him, if you're changing regimes and everything else, you're not going to get in the mix for Deshaun Watson and everything that involves. That's not happening. Because, I mean, I don't know what they could have really done that they didn't do. I thought they addressed some of the needs that they needed. And again, I think Hunter's right in the facet that they're probably going to be pretty much the same team, but I definitely didn't think they got worse.
Yeah, no, I don't think they got worse,
improved.
but they're probably the exact same team. And that in the NFL, if you're not improving, you're kind of, I guess, what's the word? Disproving.
You almost let a good segue there, but you forgot English words.
Yeah. Apologize.
So, leading into then mine, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
There we are.
Which is exactly why my one step back team is the Dallas Cowboys. To Hunter's point of Minnesota, Dallas did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They did nothing but lose people.
Right. They lost Amari Cooper. They didn't add really anybody. And then they just had Tyron Smith get injured. So now they're going to have a 40 or 41-year-old Jason Peters after he gets into shape coming off the practice squad to be their starting left tackle. I just don't see it. I don't get how in the world they possibly could improve. I think they're going to be very disappointing this year.
Yeah, I think that offensive line that years ago we thought was so good and last year was average at best, with this Tyron Smith injury, and depending on a Jason Peters to, once he's back in shape, just be a bandage that patches everything up isn't going to work. It's pretty much Zach Martin and some guys out there playing offensive line for Dak, who hasn't been the same since he broke his ankle. You lose one of his better weapons, Michael Gallup. They took him off the pup, but he's still not going to be there, at least definitely not this week and maybe not even week 2. But you might see Michael Gallup week 3. So it's pretty much CeeDee Lamb and who's the other guy
Schultz.
Going out there with him? Yeah. And then Zeke, who knows what we have in Zeke anymore. And it sounds like Tony Pollard isn't getting an increased role this season. It's still Zeke's backfield.
It's very confusing considering he's a much better running back.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I wish I would have thought of the Cowboys because I would have been all over that. I think you're absolutely right. I think they took a very good step backwards.
Cowboys are a great pick. Echoing everything you said. How is after this season, if they're under 500, is McCarthy gone?
I thought he was gone last year, dude.
I thought he was gone last year too. What record does he have to get to before he keeps his job.
So the to me, I would ask that in a different question: is
does Sean Payton want the job?
Well, that A, and B, has he officially entered Jason Garrett territory where it's too much of a headache for Jerry Jones to hire somebody that he doesn't think is necessarily going to be better, so he just keeps running it back? Because if it's not Sean Payton, I don't think Jerry Jones fires him for some unproven guy that he can't control and manipulate.
I agree with that.
Fair enough.
Which is why that's a terrible organization.
Yeah.
AJ,
Poor
who's your
Jerry.
team?
Mine is the Kansas City Chiefs offense. I think the defense for the Chiefs improved, drafting Karl Loftus out of Purdue to kind of strengthen that defensive line a little bit. But that offense without Tyreek Hill now is going to be a different looking offense. And you filled it with MVS, Valdez-Scantling. Hunter, how good was Valdez-Scantling?
Not good, man.
The Packers. Yeah, not very good.
Not very good, man.
Is McCole Hardman good? I forget.
Nope. He's not good either.
So, what about Byron Pringle? Oh wait, he's a Bear now. So,
don't disrespect him.
Surely they have Demarcus Robinson, right?
Maybe on the practice squad or something.
He's in Baltimore.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean this Chiefs offense is going to look very different to me this season. Of course, you still have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, but like Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't pan out like they expected. The running back situation there is still like, But you don't have Tyreek Hill to take the top off defenses anymore. They're going to have to play actual offense instead of have Tyreek Hill just be a game-breaking buster for defenses. It's going to be interesting. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to really prove how good he is this year, but I still think he's an all-time great.
I don't think that this is as much of a downgrade as you think it is. Losing Tyreek Hill is honestly just the biggest thing of the entire offseason, and it's a big thing. But this forces...
Not big enough to make our offseason headlines.
When you build your... I know, right?
Right.
God, this show sucks.
We need a producer.
I think that this is a perfect encapsulation of how you should treat a team that's going to be built around this major quarterback contract. You really have to start getting cheap offensively and start moving all your assets to the defense. I know Tyreek Hill is kind of what made that offense what it was, you know, the speed, his contested catch even. But what they're adding in Juju Smith-Schuster is going to change the offense. It's not going to be terribly worse, in my opinion. They now get to put assets more towards the defense, which they've already started to do. They picked up Justin Reed, who I think is better than Tyrann Mathieu in general. I'm not a big Tyrann Mathieu guy, though. I know. I'm not a big Tyrann Mathieu guy, though. But they're starting to move their assets towards the defense, which is a good idea. Just for this year, it's going to be a little bit harder, and there's going to be a lot of growing pains because you basically got a whole new receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think the defense took a huge step back. I agree with you, Austin, though. The Matthew is a step down, but I think Karlaftis addition, and I think what's the linebackers at Hitchens? Something like that? I don't know. One of their
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Bolton maybe?
The young kid.
Yeah, they lost Hitchens.
I like Bolton. They lost Hitchens. I like Bolton, though. I think he's a solid linebacker. I think Karlaftis will be a nice addition. Austin, you got any takes on this? You've just been sitting there with a smirk, dude. Just spew it out.
I've been waiting for minutes for anybody to make a point about the most relevant point in all of this. Who's still the head coach?
Andy Reid.
Who's arguably the greatest offensive mind in NFL history?
Guys from the 80s that I can't remember their name right now.
I got you, man. I knew what you were trying to say.
I mean, I don't understand why that's not being talked about this entire offseason. Yeah. Everybody.
They have Patrick Mahomes. Not just
everybody. It's what does Tyreek Hill do? What can't Patrick Mahomes do? What can Patrick Mahomes do? What is Sky Moore gonna do? What is this person gonna do? What how about we just trust the guy that's arguably the greatest offensive mind in the history of the NFL?
Yes.
To adjust his offense. Why?
No, I do think it's going to look different.
It for sure will look different, 100%. But I think this conception that, well, yeah, he might not be throwing it 59 yards down the field off his back foot across the field to Tyreek Hill on a broken play means that the offense can't function. Like, it's still going to be explosive. It's Andy Reid's offense. Like, Donovan McNabb ran an explosive offense with Andy Reid as his head coach. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be just fine.
He had Terrell Owens, though.
Yeah, on a broken leg.
Yeah, that's respect to T.O.
He was a first ballot. It's BS.
Not in the not in the sports writer's eyes.
And now we're on to 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I got this producer thing down.
Hunter, give me one more team that you thought improved. Let's end this seg on a positive note.
Can I toss it to Austin instead, please, real quick? Thank you.
I mean, we can finish talking about the AFC West if we want, and how much the Raiders improved.
Should I go with the?
Hey, that was my next one.
Yeah, I mean,
the Las Vegas Raiders.
Addition by subtraction, first of all, getting the mess that was Mike Mayock and John Gruden out of the building and away.
Absolutely.
That is a massive boost.
Maybe they'll hit on first rounders now.
Probably not.
They'll probably miss on 4th and 5th and 6th.
Oh wait, they don't have any because the Packers have them. Let's go, baby.
Isn't that only one? Wasn't that only one year?
I know.
Yeah, it's
only
first and second. Yeah,
it's only the one.
But Devontae Adams is the obvious one. You know, we hit on that a little bit earlier. Him reconnecting with Derek Carr. They were teammates in college. They've been allegedly trying to hook up throughout their NFL careers to figure out how it goes. And but to me, the big one's Chandler Jones.
Yes.
Chandler Jones has been an absolute force in this league for quite a while, and I believe will offer them what they thought.
Underrated Chandler Jones.
He will give them what they thought Yannick Ngakoue was going to give them, and just simply didn't. It'd be two nice pass rushers opposite of each other with Jones and Max Crosby, and help out the secondary.
Max Crosby.
Help out the secondary.
And they brought in Nick Mullins too.
And they brought in, as you mentioned earlier, Austin, some Rocky Sin.
Yeah, Rocky
Sin. What a name to have in Vegas.
Rocky Sin City?
Should have went.
Yeah.
New hashtag?
He needs you on his branding team now.
For sure.
That's what I'm here for.
But yeah, I'm with you, Austin. I think this team could be very good. I have them going far.
I don't
it's the year of the silver and gold. Silver and black, sorry. Black and silver, silver and black. Hunter, who is the team that you spent all this time thinking about?
I was still supposed to do that. I thought we were just switching topics and then just going forward.
No.
I think we were. I think his next job was to give us a super overrated team.
It was either that or toss you the news.
I'll take the news.
Okay, what we got for the news, Hunter?
Well, Deshaun Watson is now up to 30.
Yep, no, we're on.
And that's the buzzer.
And that's the news.
Minor news that most people don't care about. The Bears released plans of conceptual designs to move their stadium to Arlington Park today. That was fun.
Very exciting.
Really?
Very exciting. Let's get out of Chicago. Let's move 45 minutes northwest to a nicer area, okay?
Easy.
And we'll make it a whole fun area.
But Austin, the history, man.
Yeah,
they're gonna put all of the history in the new place.
I was actually talking to my dad about that today. Why do people consider the Bears like a history thing when they actually played longer at Wrigley Field than they have at Soldier Field?
They've only been in Soldier Field since 2002, right?
No, it was like 1978. They rebuilt it in to whatever it was, 2002 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I mean.
There's a line, and I don't know that exact line, and maybe you guys can help me find it. The Bears are currently in an old stadium. They're not in a vintage stadium, and I think that's a very clear line that is set.
Yes.
Old stadiums can be rebuilt. Vintage stadiums, which there's not many in the NFL. The only one I think off the top of my head was Lambeau.
Yeah.
But
that's more of a baseball
thing for sure.
But outside, the plastic seats, it's still a very nice renovated stadium. Like
no, it's not. It's the worst.
Lambeau.
Wait, you talking about Lambeau? Or
like Lambeau. Like they should use that as the template and just continue to upgrade. But if they're going to just move, like, what do you think of moving it? Do you think that's a good idea?
Oh yeah, they absolutely need to move. It's the lowest capacity stadium in the NFL, even though they're in the third largest market. They have the highest ratio of suites to seats in the NFL. It was labeled and branded when it was built as a stadium for the people and has become everything except that. So the city owns it. The city can have it and deal with it. And the Bears announced today that they will be asking for no public funding for their new stadium. So the Bears can do whatever they possibly want with their new stadium.
So no public funding. Is that coming from the owner?
The new one in about 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, and investors and other stuff like that, yes.
So your owner currently, McCaskey, am I getting that right? That old lady is actually trying to upgrade and make the Bears better now?
No, she's 99 years old.
She's banking on not being around for this.
I think it's actually the children who are actually running the team are banking on that. There's been a long-standing belief that as soon as Virginia has passed away, that the children will sell the team. But Virginia will not, because she is the daughter of George Halas and cannot do that. So the grandchildren will sell the team with the already purchase agreement of creating this new, basically, city within a city that's 396 acres. And a new enclosed stadium, by the way, was purposefully worded inside that proposal today.
You think it'll be a hybrid, like it'll be open and closable, or do you think it'll be completely closed off?
I always kind of assumed that it would be retractable, but today them specifically noting enclosed makes me feel like they're thinking a different direction.
Kind of like, is Minnesota completely enclosed?
No,
just with all the natural light. Retractable. Yeah. Indy's retractable too, and they just got the giant, massive windows on each side.
Correct.
What if Aaron Rodgers bought the team?
I mean, as long as they don't own it, I don't care.
He clearly owns them, though, right? He said it last year.
Said it last year.
Yeah. I think they talked. PFT asked him that, right, Austin?
No, that was actually Big Cat. He's got the cojones to own up to those things.
Yeah. All right. Good segment, guys. You ready for the next one?
Why not?
This one's a little bit quicker, easier to understand, Hunter. So we made this one nice and simple for you. This one's just give me an overrated team going into the season and give me an underrated team going into the season. And I do want you to start it.
You mean you as in Hunter?
You as in Hunter, yeah.
I'm going to you as you. I don't see overrated, underrated so tough because you don't know 100% where the public lies always. Because I was going to say the Chargers for this as my underrated team, but I feel like a lot of people are on them right now. So I'm just going to stick with it, though. Chargers, love the Chargers this year. Great quarterback, added a whole bunch of pieces defensively to an already good defense. Great offensive line, weapons. Not a lot of holes on that team. Underrated.
Austin?
For reference, Hunter, they are the second favorite to win that division. So if you think they're going to win that division, that would make them underrated.
Okay.
So I think that's good there. I went a little bit different than I think most people are. I went overrated with a couple of bad teams. I'll give you one to start, and then I'll let AJ go. Seattle. I think this is the worst roster we've seen in the NFL in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, if Geno Smith is your starting quarterback.
I mean, I think this team has a chance to be historically terrible. Like, the worst. They have to play in one of the hardest divisions, and then there are other teams that they have to play looking at their schedule. It's not – I don't see anything in there that's like, oh, that's a for sure win. Like, not a single one.
Yeah.
They're going to be really, really, really bad.
Yeah, DK is going to really need that pacifier mouthpiece that he's got this season.
Hey, he can buy plenty of them after that extension.
Yeah. What was the other one you had, real quick? And then I'll give my.
I mean, the standard yearly Hard Knocks bump. the random outpouring of love that the Detroit Lions are getting is just absolutely ridiculous.
Hey, man, if you didn't watch Hard Knocks, I love the Lions now. Am I a Lions fan? Absolutely not, but I love that team.
Good Lord, the amount of teams or public or national media places that have gone, the Lions are going to finish above 500 this year. Get out of here. That's terrible.
That's craziness. Could I see them getting 7 wins, maybe 8? Maybe.
No.
That's their ceiling. Hey. I'm not saying they go over. There's no chance they go 500.
Hey. They got the Eagles week 1, and they already made public their game plan. Do you guys hear this?
Yeah, how they're going to win this?
Bite the kneecaps out.
Gonna win it with grit, baby.
Win it with grit, baby. Is it at Philadelphia?
It's at Detroit.
No, at Detroit.
Okay. All right, good. Because I was gonna ask if grit was battery repellent.
But I got
to worry about that.
I got an overrated team now.
All right.
Arizona Cardinals.
Nice.
Every year we're going to go in. They got Kyler Murray. They got this explosive offense. Whenever DeAndre Hopkins is back, they're going to have him too. I don't see it, man. Every single year that we get, they start off hot and then they fall off. This year, they may not even start off hot. I don't see a lot of pieces on that team. Plus, they just lost a really big defensive piece that Austin just hit on as well.
Yeah, hard to start off hot, though, when you have your first 6 weeks of the season without your best receiver. DeAndre Hopkins suspended 6 games for PED abuse. I wonder if he's been hanging out with Tatis, Austin.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, ringworm together and then use the wrong lotion or whatever.
Never knowingly.
Hunter doesn't get that reference because
my only pushback, Hunter, is that I don't think anyone's high on him.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they're plus 450 to win the division.
Fair enough.
They're not considered a threat, at least in I haven't heard anybody say they're going to be any good.
I'd bet that they're going to be 3rd in that division.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I think everyone's got
good enough to beat the Seahawks.
I agree with everything you're saying.
Okay.
But I agree 100%.
May I throw out a secondary instead then?
Sure,
go for it.
Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh, huh. Okay.
Yeah, pitch that one to us.
This is the year where people have them figured out.
This is the year.
This one.
Are those the same people too?
No,
saying
they've
Tom
had
Brady's going to be bad this year.
They've had them figured out, but
this
is where the drop happens for the Ravens. They've been running the same offense several years in a row. There's always this timeline on these types of offenses when it's a couple years into it, and then everybody starts to shut them down. Yeah, these types. What do I mean by that, Austin?
I don't know. I was asking you. I'm just curious.
Do you at least have another example of an offense that just collapses after 4 years?
Similar take on San Francisco then, Hunter?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So you think the Niners too?
Wait, you mean the Niners currently? I meant the Niners from like a couple years ago.
Well, yeah, you said run heavy, so I figured that's probably what you meant.
You're dumb.
Yeah, I don't think you pitched this very well. I think Austin and I were curious, and you let us down.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Super run heavy though. Running the exact same system year after year after year. I think that this year, not adding a whole lot of offensive pieces. I don't see it.
Marcus Robinson, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Adding a few offensive pieces. I don't think that this team is going to be anywhere near as good as it's been in the past couple of years. I think they're a 500 team.
Mike Davis, dude, come on. He's going to turn that running back room around.
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the Kenyon Drake pickup.
My overrated, I need to preface this first. I think this team is overrated because of the standard that the American sports media has given them. Is the Buffalo Bills. I think that they're just it seems like everybody is saying this team is going to the Super Bowl. This team is by far and away the best team in the AFC. I might have said that the Chiefs took a step back, but they're still the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes still plays football. Like, there's other teams in the AFC that are going to compete. That Chargers team, we talked about how loaded they are. If they find the right stride, how good that team's going to be. I just don't think the Bills are a lock for the Super Bowl, and that's why I'm calling them overrated. I love the team. You guys know that I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I've been standing on Josh Allen corner since day one. But, I mean, I just think it's overrated because of everyone saying that's my lock for the AFC Championship win. They're the team going to the Super Bowl, and they're probably going to win it. So in my eyes, it's overrated because if they come up short of winning the Super Bowl, I mean, I'm right.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. It was similar to kind of what I did, but the opposite with Seattle. They're bad, but I think they're even worse.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, the Bills are good. The Bills have a great chance of doing all that. I just feel that they're overrated because everyone's locked them in as the Super Bowl winner because of the loss they had and how good Josh Allen looked in those 2 playoff games last year. Yeah, Hunter, you got any takes on that?
I agree. I'm at the point now with Josh Allen that I think he's a top 5 quarterback at least. And
whoa,
I know, right? Growth.
That's amazing. I thought you were going to be like Hunter and be like, yeah, he's top 10 depending on the week.
Honestly, sometimes it's still true.
No. No.
But no, everybody's expecting them to be this team that's a shoe-in for the Super Bowl, if not at least the AFC Championship game. NFL's tough, man. It's tough to be that in that position year after year after year.
Yeah.
Says a lot about what the Chiefs have been able to do, but they also have generational coach, quarterback. I mean,
no, they don't have the wide receiver part of that.
They had the wide receiver part of that.
They have the tight end part still, though.
Tight end?
Yeah. I don't think Kelsey's taking a step back. I'll just go to my underrated team. And Hunter, this is where I thought you guys were going to kind of give me the eye, but I think Austin might be on my side with this now. I think the Vikings are an underrated team. I think they're a playoff team this year. Are they going to win the division? No, they're not. But they might steal one from the Packers. I can see them beating the Bears both times. I can see them beating the Lions both times. Right there's 5 of your 10 wins that you need to make the playoffs. I just think it's the coach thing. It's everything we already talked about. I think that this Vikings team is going to take a step in the right direction. I think the defense got a little bit better, got a little bit younger. I think the offense will perform better with an offensive coach. I just think the Vikings are going to be a playoff team this year, and I don't think anyone's really talking about it.
I mean, that's not a super hot take either. I mean, the last couple of years they've been just on the outside looking in, or maybe this week into the last wild card spots. I mean, it's not crazy.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team. I'm just saying they're underrated because they're a team that's not really getting talk. But I see them in the playoffs as I have them as the second wild card team.
Okay.
Glad that one produced a lot of chit chat.
Yeah.
Did you?
We already talked about it a little bit.
I know we did, but I thought that was going to get a little bit more pushback than it did.
Should I just say no? Like you're wrong?
I mean, you
rewind the episode.
You did with your eyes and your attitude.
I got one more underrated team for you.
Okay.
My freaking Chicago Bears.
Come on, man.
Okay, hang on.
Are they going to win 5 games instead of 2?
No, that's
they're going to win 8.
No. And Hunter, thank you for saying that exact sentence, because it is absolutely insane to think this team is going to be the worst team in the NFL. It is absolutely crazy. ESPN's current power rankings have the Bears dead last.
Yeah, the Seahawks are a much worse team.
The Seahawks, the Texans are terrible. I mean, there's lots of teams that
take
are
it
terrible.
Easy on
the Texans are terrible.
Mills.
The Texans are terrible.
You're just hating on Levy now.
Exactly. I got firsthand experience. They're terrible. That's my entire point. Okay, is the fact that this is a team that all of the sudden the national media is going, yeah, they're lucky to win 3 games this year. Like, they play the Jets, the Giants, the Panthers, the Lions twice. Who else do they got? The Falcons they have. The Falcons are going to be absolutely horrid.
The Vikings.
Yeah. I mean,
they can get a game against
the Vikings. Shot. They always play the Vikings very well.
Yeah.
But I mean, the team's going to play really hard at least the first half of the year, because they all hated Nagy, whoever's still left. So they're going to play really, really freaking hard. and they're going to squeak out a couple of games. They're going to cover a ton of spreads, which is really why I'm thrilled. But
yeah, that's really why they're underrated, because they're going to make people a lot of money this year.
Hey, I'm 3 for 3 in the preseason. But no, that's my whole thing. Is that it's absolutely crazy to say that this team is going to be exponentially worse than they were as a team last year that was headlined by Matt Nagy.
I'll accept that. I liked your underrated pick because I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be that bad. I don't know about the defense is really one of the things that hurts, and we already have talked about last year, and they didn't really do anything with that offensive line except pick up everyone's waivers. So I mean, we'll see. Maybe they can figure something out that gives Justin Fields 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. But that's why I think you have a sliver of hope still, is that Mooney seems like a dude and Justin Fields is a dude.
The coaching. Nagy, even though he knew he had a terrible offensive line, was like, you know what, let's just run 4 verticals. Let's play Madden with it. And I trust the new coaching staff. You know, Luke Getsy, Hunter had him as as a quarterbacks coach last year. Rodgers raves about him. It's a guy that simply, you know, if he does the bare minimum of, hey, don't screw him up, the offense should take a pretty significant leap forward, because they were constantly fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, and I hope they do. I enjoy when the Bears are competitive and play good games.
I just don't love picking my most improved team as
well. Wasn't most improved. It was underrated.
It wasn't. It was underrated. Overrated.
My underrated
literally
team
named
well. It can't
segment.
get much worse.
We literally named the segment overrated, underrated, and you go, I hate when you pick most improved. Jesus.
Most improved would have been like in the last segment of 2 steps forward, 1 steps back, dude. Gosh. We need to get a producer just to keep you in line, dude.
I don't like picking a team as my most underrated team as well. You know what? It couldn't get much worse last year.
I mean, you picked your worst team as a team that just didn't get better. So...
All right, let's move on.
That's a fair point. That's actually a fair point. Let's keep it moving.
To the last segment of the show, we're going to now give our preseason playoff picks and our Super Bowl picks. This is where you all make your money. Not really. I think we actually should have looked this up, what our picks were last year and how off we were. We should have done that. Again, if we had a producer to tell us, hey, you guys went 25%, much like Hunter's betting percentage last year. Yeah.
Last week it was lower than that.
Ouch town.
Ouch
Population you, bro. All right. Preseason playoff picks.
Before we start this, odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. Austin, who do you think it is?
Odds-on would be Buffalo.
Yeah, it's the Bills.
Okay. Who do you think's second, though? This one's a surprise to me.
Tampa.
Yep, it's Tampa. Good call.
That's
I would not be expecting people to be high on them this year, but they're second as well.
I'm not high on them this year.
What? 6?
6 rings.
Oh, just every year we gotta throw him up there?
Yeah.
I mean, he's Tom Brady.
That's how public future betting works, Hunter.
Yeah.
But
we
over
just
the
bet on
Chiefs
Tom Brady.
and the Rams? So.
Yeah, I mean, publicly, yeah. Maybe not intelligently, but public betting, yeah, for sure.
All right, Austin, you got your Excel set up?
I do.
All right. Hunter, give me your NFC. Let's start NFC.
Okay.
Give me your NFC West division winner.
Gosh, you're going to make me look up all these divisions again.
Thank God.
I just have to see it. I'm a very visual person.
Man, only
so
if someone wasn't on
I was on my Super Bowl picks already.
Show.
Okay. 1 second here. Let me pull it up.
All right.
Starting in the NFC West, you said?
Yeah.
It's easy. Rams for me.
Wow, it took them all.
Sorry.
It took all that to go.
I have to see it in front of me. I don't just do the whole, NFC West go. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that stuff. Sorry.
Niners.
Yeah.
Austin, I'm going the Rams too. I think that's the best team in the division. I think 49ers are second place, and then it's a nice little drop off to the Cardinals. And then if you take a couple mall escalators down, there's the
basement, and then if you dig underneath the basement is where you'll find Seattle.
Buried underneath the first Auntie Anne's. Austin, who you got as your NFC West winner?
Yeah, Rams easy. That one's as long as no catastrophic injuries happen, it shouldn't be close.
All right, let's snake it. Austin, give me your NFC North winner.
Green Bay, easy, not close.
Yep.
I took the Packers as well. Hunter, sounds like you did as well. Wow, we're just going chalk right across the board here.
Yep.
NFC East, I went with the Eagles. I think the Eagles are the best team in that division this year. I'm curious to see what Jalen Hurts can do this year. I wonder if he can lock in because I feel like if he performs well, he could be the Eagles quarterback going forward of the future. But if he doesn't play well, he could be out next year. And my boy Minshew is behind him too. Hunter, NFC East.
That's not snake style, man. Sorry.
I just jumped in the middle, dude.
I wanted to zag here, but I'm still going to go with the Eagles just because they have the best unit in that entire division, which is their defense. So I'm just going to pick them.
Yeah, I'm not an Eagles believer from a public perspective by any means, but they're still the best team in this division. Like the rest of it's not any good.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to win a division when you have the New York Giants who are trying to figure out what football is, and then you have the Washington Commanders figuring out what their name is all season, and then they're trying to figure out if they should have Carson Wentz be the promoter because he's Carson Wentz.
Yep.
So they're still figuring that out, and the Giants are still figuring out what football is.
This division's been the worst in the league for 4 years now. 4 years.
4D.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, they definitely haven't.
But they all suck. But they all suck so much together that none of them want to finish at the very bottom and get an actual legit game changer.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Hunter, NFC South.
NFC South, Buccaneers, no problem there.
I went Bucks as well. Hunter, Austin, who'd you go with?
Nolans.
What? Why?
Interesting.
Jameis?
Let's hear it.
But
if the word Jameis comes out of your mouth.
No, people forget how good that New Orleans roster is.
The roster is loaded.
The roster is absolutely loaded.
The defense is stacked.
The defense is fantastic. I have severe worries about the interior parts of Tampa Bay's line, and throughout Tom Brady's career, pressure up the middle is his kryptonite. I know it's a cliche, but it is. I know
give Tom Brady pressure up the middle, he's going to struggle.
But it is. I mean, I know that's the old, meatball take, but it's true. I'm not a big believer. Leonard Fournette's never stayed healthy for a full season. Not a big believer in any of the other running backs they have. Mike Evans' hamstring goes out 2 or 3 games a year. Chris Godwin's limping back as it is. Gronk's gone, and so is Bruce Arians. So we'll see. Todd Bowles wasn't a great head coach when he was with the Jets. I mean, it'll be a lot easier on him now that he's got Tom Brady. But
Gronk's gone till December if the Bucs are looking decent. But I agree with you. Without Jensen for the season, their center, I think that offensive line is going to be hurting. They had their right guard retire. I don't think this team is Super Bowl caliber. I do think they've dropped down. I don't see this team winning a Super Bowl. The only reason why they're even in the conversation is because they have Tom Brady and because he does have those receivers. But yeah, I'm with you, Austin. I'm not a big Leonard Fournette guy. I don't see it. The defense lost Winfield, who is a solid safety for them. I don't know.
I just don't see how you can, with the roster that the Saints have, trotting out Jameis Winston as quarterback and expecting to finish over 500.
The only thing with the Saints though is that their whole roster is so good. Every part of that team is good, and then it's Jameis Winston. But you're saying they're not going to be 500. You just said
it was
because
crazy
they are
to
starting
think they get to
Jameis
9 wins.
Yeah, Jameis is quarterback.
That is
Jameis is terrible.
I can see James. Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy.
So we can transition to our NFC wild cards. I have the Saints in the playoffs. I didn't even write those down. That's okay. I have the Saints in the playoffs. I'll give you my wild cards, and I'll discuss them a little bit as you guys figure out your wild cards. But to continue on, I have the Saints as my third wild card team. I think that they can get 10 or 11 wins, and I think they'll be in contention right there with the Vikings, who I said were going to get the second wild card seed. I don't really need to dive into the Vikings any more than I do. I'm not a purple people eater. But and then the San Francisco 49ers I have as being my top wild card coming out of the NFC West. So my NFC playoff picture looks like Rams getting the bye, Packers, Eagles, Bucks as the division winners, and then my wild cards are the 49ers, Vikings, and the Saints.
Okay.
Hunter, what do you got for your wild cards?
Very, very similar. Winning the divisions, I have Green Bay, I have the Eagles, I have the Bucks, and I have the Rams. But for my wild cards, I ended up going with the 49ers, and I'm also going to go with the Dallas Cowboys as well, throwing them in there, even though I don't want to, as much as I hate them, just because that honestly, this conference in general, I don't think is going to be as strong as the AFC side this year. And then I need a third team, don't I?
Yeah.
Falcons.
Go with
the Falcons. Yeah. They're going to win 4 games this year.
They won 7 last
year.
They
won 7 last year.
But they also had Matt Ryan. Now they got Mariota and Desmond Ritter.
Highlight that one in the good old Excel file for later fun.
Hey,
for my last pick to make it in Austin, the playoffs.
We'll pull that up.
That doesn't go through.
We'll pull that up every 4 weeks and laugh at it. Card in the NFC looking like?
I went Tampa Bay, San Francisco, and Minnesota.
All right. Well, let's get going. Finish the turn. We'll go on the AFC. Hunter, I'm going to start with you again. Let's go AFC West.
Okay.
Who's your division winner?
I am taking the Chargers to win the division, but I don't think they're the best team in the division.
Okay. Don't want to elaborate anymore on
that? No, it's the Chiefs I still think are the better team. Go ahead.
Okay. I went with the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs winning the division. I think everybody's pretty hyped on them taking a big step back, including me, but I still think they'll come out on top in the division because of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Austin, AFC West.
The Denver Broncos.
See, yeah.
Scheduling. Kansas City has an absolutely brutal schedule. The Chargers is not much easier. Denver gets a much more beneficial schedule, which will allow them, even though they're not as good as those other two teams, to squeak out a couple more victories because the schedule is much lighter.
And when people go to play them, they got to play in the higher elevation. It's harder to breathe up there.
Darn right they do.
Austin, AFC North division winner.
AFC North, Baltimore. I'm just not thrilled about anybody else in this division. I'm not. Kansas. I think Cincinnati's going to take a little bit of a step back. Cleveland not having Deshaun Watson for 11 weeks. I have no idea what to expect there. And Pittsburgh, they have Mitch Trubisky. So.
Why do you think the Bengals are taking a step back?
Lost in the Super Bowl. It's the tale as old as time. You lose the Super Bowl.
That's the only reason.
No, this is Burrow's. Last year was Burrow's first real year. The second year, quarterbacks either take a massive leap, which I don't even know what his massive leap would be, or they take a slight step backwards. They take a slight step backwards. The defense isn't quite as opportunistic, which typically is how all defenses regress, is through turnovers. If the turnover margin is less, the defense isn't as great. Burrow takes a small step back. All of a sudden, Baltimore with a super easy schedule can take advantage.
That's a really good theory. I like it, but I disagree. I'm going with Joe Burrow. I think that they revamped that offensive line a little bit. They didn't make it a great offensive line, but they improved it.
Yes.
Maybe it can be an average offensive line and give him a little bit of time back there now. But the offensive weapons, they still have that receiving core. T. Higgins is still going to grab face masks and catch touchdowns. Joe Mixon, love me some Joe Mixon. The defense is still solid.
Easy.
I just like Joe Mixon. It's kind of like Hunter's mediocre fascination. It's not that I think Joe Mixon's like the best running back in the league or top 5. I just like him.
Big fan of people that punch women in the face at bars.
Very aggressive running back.
Maybe not that part of it. Yeah, I like him as a football player.
Asterisks, please.
I also like Deshaun Watson as a football player.
No.
I think he's got a pretty good game.
No.
I'm also going with the Bengals too. I think it's basically the exact same team, but they've improved the offensive line. Is how I look at it.
All right. Hunter, AFC East.
AFC East, Buffalo Bills to win that division.
Yeah, I think this is pretty easy. I'm going Bills too. Austin?
Yeah, Buffalo. No.
Okay. I thought you were hesitating because you're
I was
Patriots.
just typing too.
You're nope. Let me interest you in the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. See, I think the Dolphins are going to take a step in the right direction this year, but I think the Patriots are not being talked about how they're going to take a step in the wrong direction. Bill Belichick changed that offensive system for the first time, and they kind of ran with the same kind of system since Charlie Weiss was there. And now they're going to try to run what the 49ers run in that zone read run game, whatever they do it. Isn't that what it is? Zone read? Zone runs? That's what I thought. I just,
No, yeah, you're
not
right.
getting feedback. Thought I sounded like an idiot.
You're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. But that's what Bill Belichick's going for, and he does not have the offensive line for that right now. And also reports are that practices looked really, really bad.
Also reports that they haven't decided who's calling plays, and we're like 4 days from the start of the season. So
yeah, and I don't get why I think Bill Belichick's getting like dementia or Alzheimer's or something, because it's like, wow, you went from having like a great team and great staffs and stuff to like now you're the head coach of this team that we wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have enough players, because you have like 5 coaches total and one of them's your kid. Like, it's pretty bad.
That being said, they're still going to find a way to probably scrape together a 500 team, I think. Because he's just that good of a coach.
I'll be surprised, but they're not. I mean, I think the Dolphins are coming in second in this division.
No,
easy.
Not a Dolphins believer at all. We'll get into that some other time.
Not either, but I'm with AJ. I don't think the Patriots are going to be good at all this year.
AFC South. Austin, go ahead.
Indianapolis. The rest of this division is terrible. Add Matt Ryan to an already good team. That shouldn't be close.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson's going to physically carry this team.
Literally.
He'll be carrying it.
Yes.
But Jonathan Taylor will be carrying him and running. Just Quentin Nelson's going to hold the team. But, yeah, it'll be Quentin Nelson and the Jonathan Taylor show, and Matt Ryan will be kind of making checkdowns and making sure Jonathan Taylor gets the ball right where he wants it.
I am also going Colts, and I'm really trying to debate if I even want to throw the Titans into the playoff picture for me. I really don't.
I didn't.
You didn't?
Nope.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Hunter, what do you got for your AFC wild cards? Let's hear it.
AFC wild cards. Biggest one, Chiefs. I think that this is just a year where they're just going to have a really tough schedule, and they're going to finish behind a more talented team. But I think they're a better team still because they have better coach and quarterback. We've been over this. But I'm also going to go with the Broncos as well as a wild card team. Schedule's too easy. Even though I think they're not going to be that great of a team in general, I still got to take them to make the wild card. And then I really bounced back and forth on this, but I'm going to go with the Browns as my last wild card team.
Very interesting. So let's discuss a little bit, not
Okay.
Watson, but the Browns have to go 11 games without him.
Yep.
As in, Jacoby Brissett is your starting quarterback for 11 games with a receiving core that is headlined by Amari Cooper, who struggles to stay healthy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and right now, I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but rookie receiver from Purdue. David Bell.
Yeah.
That's your receivers. I think the defense is going to be good, if not great.
Mm-hmm.
But that offense is going to be bad. And you lost your starting center to free agency / retirement. And his replacement also is out for the season. So they've already got a hole in the offensive line, and the season hasn't started. and you're going into it with Jacoby Brissett, and you think that team's going to go to the playoffs?
I do.
Hunter, I just looked at the schedule, and you're right, because they're starting 4-0.
Yeah, I mean the schedule is very favorable at the beginning, but there is a tough stretch that Jacoby Brissett's got to figure out.
But even more so than all that, everything you just listed that's problems with this team is not the identity of this team. They're a run the football team and play defense.
Yeah.
So why don't they just stick to that script and occasionally follow that entire script all the way through a couple games here, including the first 4 games, like Austin mentioned, that are super easy for them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're at least winning 5 games with Jacoby Brissett.
So this is my theory on that Browns team, is that if the Browns want to have a chance to make the playoffs, Jacoby Brissett's got to win 7 games.
No way.
What do you mean, no way? After 11 games, they'll have 6 games left. So you're saying Deshaun Watson's going to come back and go 6-0 to get to 11 wins, or 5-1 to get to 10 wins to make the playoffs?
I mean, you say he'd have to win 7 games? 6-0 more, you know?
Yes, which means that Deshaun Watson would only have to win 5 to get to 12, because you think Deshaun Watson not playing football
you don't have to get to 12 to get to the playoffs.
I think in the AFC you're going to have to get to 11 or 12. I don't think the AFC is going to be at 10 wins.
Texans, Ravens or Bengals, Commanders, Steelers.
The Browns can't beat the Ravens. Go look. They can beat the Bengals. They'll beat the Bengals.
Maybe not with Baker, but
yeah. We'll see.
I'm not thrilled about the whole situation either, but this team's making the playoffs.
I don't think they are. My AFC wild card, I've got the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. So my AFC looks like Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Colts, Chargers, Raiders, Dolphins make it. No Broncos, no Browns.
I could easily see the Broncos falling out of the picture as well if they didn't have such a nice schedule.
Yeah, and I'm not thrilled with like their long-term success this season. Like okay, I was like, this team could easily get to 12 or 13 wins, 12 wins, and in that division they're going to beat the crap out of themselves. And
yes,
so,
they are.
By default, they can win the division. I got for wild cards. I've got Kansas City and the Chargers, and then I've got Cleveland filling out that last spot.
Good picks.
Very interesting. Very interesting that you guys both have Cleveland, because I ruled them out quick. So you're right, though. The schedule plays a factor, and I've looked at the schedule. I was looking at the schedule long ago, but I don't know. I just don't see it.
You're also a pessimistic fan.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, I wouldn't rather you be any other way.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, that wraps up our postseason or preseason recap. Looking forward to the future show. Thanks for listening. You guys got anything before we want to send them on their way?
Nice to have you all back.
Check us out below. There's probably nothing below. Subscribe. Enjoy listening to us. If you do listen to us, we appreciate it. I'll be surprised if this one gets over 20 views after our 6-month hiatus.
It better get over 20 views. I got 20 family members that have to listen to this show, or I can't sleep at night.
Well, you heard it here first, Harris family. Listen to the show. Please comment. Until next time, take it easy.